So yesterday, what we did yesterday, we have created an EC2 instance and we did log into that EC2 instance. And that's what we did, right? Yesterday, and we have learned about the components of a VPC, how VPC works, and what goes into a VPC. And we learned all those things yesterday. So today, what we will be learning, we'll be creating one more Amazon Linux computer, and we'll be working on the file permissions, basically. We'll be working on the user management, how to create a user, and how many types of users are there, how to assign a password for a user, and we'll be doing that today. Okay, so let me create an EC2 instance first. This will take a minute. So once I have that EC2 instance, so what I will do, I will connect to that instance. Did they change that EC2 dashboard again?
Yeah, Vishnu, but you can opt out. You can see the opt out one for the older version. It's popping up on the upside. Yeah.
I don't want any new version.
Yeah, even I did that.
So I'm going to select Amazon Linux 2. Okay. And I'm going to select a free type, that is T2.micro. I'm just going to leave everything like that. I'm just going to launch by default configuration. So acknowledge that and review. So let me go to our EC2 instance. Okay. It will be ready in a minute.
That means yesterday's instance, Vishnu?
I terminated that instance because I don't want to pay.
We didn't see even in future that instance?
No, you're terminating means that is the reason why you are taking cloud instance. You are terminating means you don't own them anymore and you don't pay them anymore. It's like renting a car.
But we saw in downloads, right?
No, that is not instance, basically. That is the key, authentication key. Okay, let me show you what that means.
Okay.
And if I go here, right, you see that these are the instance details, right? This is the instance ID, this is the type, and this is the platform, Amazon Linux. Can you guys see my screen? And I did not assign any IAM role. You see that this is the key pair. So I did download this key pair. I'm gonna use this key pair every time that I create an instance. I'm not creating one more key pair. I'm using an existing key pair. So I have this key pair in my downloads folder. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. So when I click on that instance, right, T2.micro, I'm gonna leave everything alone and just launch, right? You see that? Choose an existing key pair. I have this key pair in my downloads folder, so that I choose an existing key pair so that I can use the same key pair for multiple instances. So the companies, they use one key pair for all testing instances, one key pair for all production instances, one key pair for different instances. Okay. Let's say they have 3 testing instances, right? They use 3 key pairs for 3 testing instances. For production, they use separate key pair. They don't use each and every different key pair for each and every instance. If you want, you can create a new key pair, but I don't want to manage multiple key pairs. That can be confusing. So I can reuse the same key pair. That's why I acknowledge this and I can download. If this is the first time, that means if it is a create a new key pair, and I can give key pair name, right? I can give key pair name, right? You see that download key pair. So I'm going to reuse this key pair next time. I don't need to download any key pair next time. You know what I mean? So that's what it means. Did I answer your question? Lata? No. So yeah, one more time. What exactly your question is?
Here I terminated instance, but okay. I in downloads. Are the both instances are same or different?
No. You terminated your instance and you see in your downloads.
But we didn't use in future, right?
No, whatever you saw in your downloads, that's not an instance. Okay. That is a key pair. Key pair, you downloaded it when you create an instance. That is the key for your home. So you have that key in your downloads and you can unlock your home door. Next time, when you are creating your home, hey, I have a key. I have my older key that I can reuse that key. Whatever that key that you are trying to reuse is in your downloads folder. It's not a EC2 instance. Does that make sense?
Okay, got it.
Okay, so connect. And I did change the permissions yesterday. So I'm gonna copy this. Let me go. Let me try to run this command here. So, okay. Let's say yes. I'm gonna get permission denied. Do you wanna know why the permission denied? You see that this SSH-I, this -I will look for this file. If this file exists in the current folder where I'm at right now, then only it will work. Let me try whether that file exists. No, if it exists, right? When I use tab, it will come up. So there is no file. So where is that file? I know that file will be downloaded into downloads. Now try to run again. This time it will work, but I want to see whether that file exists in this folder or not. What I will do, I will just try to simply use cat command. I just want to use tab to see whether the file is exist or not. You see that? So the file is there. So I'm not going to get any permission denied now. You see that? I'm connected to Amazon Linux computer. This is Amazon Linux. Okay. So today's topic is how to add user. Okay. How to add user, how to change user permissions, and how many types of user. And that's what we are going to do today. So there are two types of users in Linux. One is normal user, which is EC2 at the moment. And the second one is administrator, is nothing but root user. Root user means he can do everything. He will be able to create one more user. He will be able to create files, any custom configurations. He will be able to install applications, and he can do everything. Administrator can do everything. Like a root user is nothing but administrator. A normal user is nothing but just a user. He can access the system with the limited permissions. Okay, and we will discuss in a minute. So let's create a user. The command to create a user is add user. Okay, add user and a username. So we can provide something like a git user. Okay, permission denied. Do you want to know why permission denied? This EC2 user is a normal user. So a normal user cannot create a user, cannot add a user. Okay? Only an administrator can add an extra user to this computer. Okay? Now, in order to log in as an administrator, the command is sudo nothing but super user do. Super user is nothing but administrator. Switch user to administrator. You see that? Change it to root. Now I'm a root user. So I can do anything that I want within the system. Now what I'm going to do, add user. Add user is a command to add an user. Okay? User. Okay, user has been added. Now assign a password for that user. Pass, WD is the command. Okay? And you are assigning password for git user, right? Git user is nothing but his extra user we created and we named it as a git user. Okay, enter. Now provide the password for that guy. Enter. Enter. Okay. Now go back to an EC2 user, normal user. Now switch back to the new user. Okay.
Vishnu, this both users, EC2 user and the root user, they are created automatically when the instance is created.
So EC2 user is a norm, automatically we will get the user because in order to access the system, at least one user should be there, right?
Okay. Okay.
So that user, in that image, basically in that operating system, Amazon Linux operating system will have EC2 user by default because there is got to be a user in order to access that computer, right? When you buy your computer, the first time when you try to log into that computer, it will ask for your username, password, all the stuff, right? Because that computer should know that Windows operating system should know who is accessing that system, basically. Like that, the Amazon Linux operating system will have this EC2 user by default because there is got to be a user in order to access the computer. So by default, they made this EC2 user is a root user automatically. He will get the root permissions, root privileges automatically. Okay. Now we created this user, git user. Switch back to the git user, switch user. Okay. Switch user to git user. And we need to provide the password. You see that now I became a git user. Okay. Now let me try to add one more user. Now go back as a root user. Let's see what happens. You see that? Okay, it is asking for password. You see that git user is not in the sudoers file. So this incident will be reported. So the git user is not a super user by default because we created this user with a limited permissions. And he cannot able to create a user or he cannot able to install any applications because he is not a super user. He's not a root user. So what I need to do in order to add this guy to a root user, I can go back to EC2 user again. Okay. And I can go back to a root user. Sudo. Or simply the command is I can add this user to wheel group basically. So sudo chmod -a -g git user to wheel group. Actually, it's not a chmod. The command is user mod. You are modifying the user permissions. Okay.
What is this A and G? What do you?
Okay, that's a good question actually. That's a good question. Give me 1 second. I can answer that question.
Okay.
So this -a means add. -g means group. You are adding this user to this wheel group.
What is the wheel group means?
Exactly. That's a good question. So let's go back to our root user. And there is a default file in Linux file system called vsudoers. Okay, vsudoers.
We are not in main, right? We are in root. We are not in.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. This is the file name. This is the file name. So I'm just gonna copy it. It's gonna paste it. vsudoers file. So what is vsudo? That's a good question. What is vsudo? So vsudo is the default configuration file in the Linux file system. And here what we will see here is, we will see who is in the root user, like who is the root user, what a root user can do. Okay. Here we see, you see that allow root user to run any command anywhere. Root user allow all. Okay. And here we have one more group, same like a root user group. We have one more group called wheel group. And we are allowing people from wheel group to run all commands in every place, like all commands, any place. These people who are in the root, who are in the wheel group will have the root permissions basically. In Linux, a user itself is a group. Each and every user should be assigned to a group basically. Okay. Let's say I've created a Git user, right? But before I have added the Git user to this wheel group now. But before that, a Git user itself is a group. Okay. A Git user itself is a group because every user should be attached to a group in Linux file system. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have added the Git user to this wheel group, right? He will be able to execute the commands. Okay, let's see. So now I'm logged in as a root user. Obviously he can execute all the commands. In order to switch that, let me go back to normal EC2 user, switch user to Git user. Okay, and I'm going to provide my password. Now what I will do, sudo add user, one more user, I can call Jenkins user. Okay.
You are creating one more.
One more user, yes. Hey, what is sudo? You added sudo. What does that mean? Like you are not a root user this time. Earlier, remember when you created a user, you were a root user. You logged in as a root user. Then you run the command add user username. Now you did not log in as a root user. You still a Git user, but you run this extra command and you run this command. So what does that mean? What did you do? That's a good question. So remember, we have added this Git user to sudoers file, right? We have added this guy to the wheel group. So if you are added to that wheel group, you can get that escalation if you are providing sudo. Sudo will tell you, hey, super user is doing this operation. Whenever you type sudo, that means super user is doing this operation. Okay. If you think you are a super user, please provide your password. So I will verify your password and I will let you know if you are a super user or not. I did provide my password and it did not give me any error.
But in Git user, you are creating one more Jenkins user. You are creating in that, right? You are not creating in
not in Git user. They are all independent users. I am creating one more user. Okay. I'm creating one more user.
But where are you right now? Like initial days we used to see, right? Where are you? And from there we used to create the files or the directories.
So that is the file system. We are talking about the users here, not file system. Okay.
That's what we are in the Git users, right? In the Git users, you are creating again Jenkins users.
I am creating as a Git user, but I am creating. Who am I right now? Let's type who am I? I am a Git user right now.
Yeah, that's what in Git user you are creating again one more user, Jenkins user.
I think you're getting confused between users and folders. Like this is not a folder. This is users. This is users. It's not folders.
Folders and files are file system. They are like the files inside a computer. But users are number of people who will have access to that computer.
Okay.
Okay. Now I tried to create a user. I tried to create a user earlier as a Git user. It kicked me out. We got an error. Hey, your permission denied because you are not supposed to create a user. In order to create a user, you should be a super user. You should be an administrator. You should be a root user. Now I'm telling this computer, hey, I'm a super user. Okay. Do you think you are a super user? How do you think you are a super user? Okay. Let me give you my password. And because I'm added to that wheel group. So I can add one more user, like I'm creating. Basically, I am working as an administrator now. So I'm trying to add one more user. Okay?
Okay.
Now, how many users in this computer? Let's see how many users in this computer. This home folder will tell us how many users have access to this computer. Okay. If I do that, you see that EC2 user, default user, and the Git user, we created this Git user, and we just created Jenkins user.
Jenkins user, okay.
We have added this Git user to wheel group. So this Git user became an administrator, but we did not add this Jenkins user to wheel group. And this is a normal user. And let's try to create one more user as a Jenkins user. And let's see what happens. Let's assign a password for the Jenkins user first. Passwd is the command. Jenkins user. Okay. Creating a password. Okay. Now, switch back to Jenkins user. I'm using tab. You see that? That's the best practice to work in Linux. If that user exists, then only I will see. If I do Penguin, something like that. No, I cannot see because there is no user starts with a PE. Okay. Folder, directors, like a files, you'll be using tabs. Okay. And let me provide the password. Now add one more user. Add user. Username AWS.
But you did not wield it, right?
Yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, you're right, but let's see what happens. Okay. So I've got an error. Hey, you see that you are telling us you are an administrator. By providing this sudo, that means this guy is telling this computer that this guy is an administrator. How he is saying that he's an administrator? By providing this sudo. This sudo means I'm a super user. Now I'm trying to add one more user. Okay. This system does not see this guy in that wheel group. So this system is unable to verify his identity. And it is asking for password. Okay. Can you provide your password so that we will verify? Okay. Let me provide my password. No. You see that? You are not in that group. You are not in that sudoers file. You are not in that group, basically. So you can't add one more user because you are not an administrator. Okay. So can I add sudoers? Can I add myself to sudoers group? Is that possible? Can someone tell me?
No.
Because you are not a root user. Exactly. You are not a root user, right?
Yeah.
So you should be a administrator in order to add a user to an admin group. So you cannot add users to admin group. Okay. Let's provide Jenkins user. Okay. You see that Jenkins user is not in sudoers file. So he cannot use this sudo command at all. Okay, let's go back. Now git user in that sudoers file, right? User mod -a -g will Jenkins user. Now Jenkins user has been added to that root, has been added to that sudoers file. Let's switch back to Jenkins user. Okay, let's run some sudo yum install git. We are trying to install a git. Okay, yes. In order to install any packages, we just install git package in this computer. Okay, if I do which git, you see that whatever the package that you install, it will be automatically installed in the binaries, user bin, the binary, whatever the binary that you have installed. Okay, the command to install any package is the yum. Yum is the command to install any package in Linux. Not all the flavors of Linux. In Amazon Linux, CentOS, and Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Mostly we'll be working on Amazon Linux. So we'll be using yum. But let's go back to our user management for now. Okay. Now, log that user. We just created a user, right? And you can log the user as well. So sudo user mod -l, just log git user. Okay, now switch back to git user. provide password for the Git user. You see that I cannot authentication failure because this Git user has been locked. He's not an active user anymore. If I do ls home, I can still see him, but this user has been locked. Okay. How
can we see like in the details? Can we see it is locked?
In the details?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cat etc. Here you can see this is the Linux code basically.
Okay.
I wouldn't suggest you to go here right now.
Okay.
Because it can be Spanish at the moment, but that is the command. -L is the flag to lock the user.
Okay.
-U is the flag to unlock the user.
But how do we know that it is locked? Because when you typed it as ls, it is showing. But when you want to go into that user, it is not showing, like it is showing as an unauthorized one.
Exactly. So you can get error like unauthorized access.
Yeah. So how do we know that it is logged? Because it's not showing anywhere, right? That folder is locked.
Okay. So you can see that here actually.
Yeah, you said that. Okay.
Yeah, here. You see that these codes?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to what user, Git user, right? We just logged Git user, right?
Yes.
It's on the last line actually.
Yeah, you see that Git user in the last line?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you seen any difference from this, that user to this user?
That is Git user and this is Jenkins users.
Jenkins user. Yeah, Git user and the Jenkins user. Have you seen any difference?
We have.
Yeah, so we will discuss that actually. Okay. I have link somewhere, but I can share that link after this class. Okay.
Okay.
So you can go details actually. I don't have that in my mind right now.
Okay.
And to unlock the user mod, nothing but modify the user. You are modifying user permissions. Okay. -U Git user. Now switch back to Git user. Provide your password. Done. You logged in as a Git user. Okay.
So I have a question. Like somebody can lock our users? No, right?
Only root user can lock.
Okay.
If let's say, for example, you are going on a vacation for 2 months, right? You will be traveling to some Australia for a vacation, and you work for the government, for example, and they wanna disable your access for this computer for 2 months. Okay. And they will create a ticket to lock this user for 2 months. Okay. I can go here and I can just modify that user permissions using -L flag. Lock it. Okay. When she come back and she tried to access her computer, but she can get like access denied. What could be the reason? Her user account has been locked. So just unlock the user account. Just -U unlock. Am I clear?
Yes.
That is the real-time scenario. And so we created user, we added user to the sudoers group, and we learn how to lock the user, unlock the user. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this one basically. this is where we can see cat etc shadow sudo cat etc shadow 3, 4, 5, 6. This is where you will see the logged user and unlocked user. Let's go here. Let's log user mod -l. Let's log Jenkins user. Okay. Now sudo cat etc shadow. And can you guys see the Jenkins user? And can you guys see the Git user?
Yeah.
So this is the Jenkins user. Okay. And this is the Jenkins user. And this is the Git user. Can you guys see any differences? You see that this
the first one, yeah,
this exclamation mark will tell you this user has been locked. Okay, the one exclamation mark, and let's verify that one again. Now unlock that user, sudo user mod -u Jenkins user, right? Now switch back Jenkins user. Switch back Jenkins user sudo user mod -l Git user. Now log the Git user. Let's find out. Cat etc shadow.
Yeah.
You see that? So that first exclamation mark is the identifier. That's how we identify. But I can just use -u just to unlock the user. You know what I mean? So that's what I would do. And any doubts, any questions on the user management, like how to create user, how to add user to sudoers group, and how to, switch user from here to there. So for now, so we will install, I can tell you, yum is the command to install the packages in Linux. So let's install Git. Okay, install Git. Okay, so the Git has been installed already. Okay, now what I will do, generate SSH keys. What is the command to generate SSH keys?
SSH keygen.
Okay, I'm gonna leave like that. Okay, now go to CD. Okay, you see that I have public key, private key, right? I can cat this public key. Copy this public key. I will add this to my GitHub. Okay. I can go here in the settings. Okay. Go to SSH and GPG keys. Add new SSH key. Add this. Okay. Hopefully I remember this one. Yes. Now, what I will do, I can just go back to my repo. I can clone any one of the repos. just, just go here. I can do SSH copy. I will definitely check where I'm at right now. I'm inside .sh folder. I don't want to clone that one there. So pwd, I am in home folder, my Jenkins user home folder. What I can do git clone. Okay. Yes. Yeah, negative. You see that? Clone it. Okay, now I have all files. Okay, and go there, edit some run.sh. Try to add some more content. Okay. Okay, so what is this means, right? Hey, can you tell us who you are? Yeah, sure, why not? I can tell you who am I. That's my Gmail address for my GitHub account. Okay. And the next, my username. This guy also want to know what is my username. Okay. And what I will do, I can just replace my GitHub username. You see that I'm copying everything, even though I know it, I'm not typing. Because if I do mistype it, I'm going to get an error. So
for adding, you are not, for git add, you did not provide any like username or something, right? Usually, what is our command for to add? We say git add and we'll give the file name or
file name.
something.
Yeah, file name or dot will add all files, things like that. But first time I have added my SSH keys, right? I have added my SSH keys that I can get access. Okay. I can get access to this GitHub server. I can get access to this GitHub server. But that username and email address is specific to this repository. Hey, may I know who is making some changes? Does that make sense?
No, I'm asking when you, like you wrote a command as git add dot, right? Period or something, yeah.
Yes.
Usually we give like git add and we give the file name or the username or the directory, right? Whatever we are adding, from where we are adding.
Yes.
We use that file name or something, but you used here as a period, right?
Yeah, dot, yes.
Yeah, period or dot, yeah. Like
so the
my
dot
question is, why did you use the dot?
Yeah, the dot will add all changes basically. Let's say I have 10 files that I need to add. I don't need to provide each file name each time, like git add file 1, git add file 2, git add file 3.
Okay. So it will change all the files.
All the files, whatever the changes that I have, it will add all the changes to the remote repository.
Got you.
Okay?
Okay.
And I can just, I want to see where I'm at right now. Main, git push, R is in main. Okay. Everything is up to date. Git pull. Okay. Git status. I'm going to check the status. You see that? I have added this one. Okay. Committed git push. Why it says everything is up to date? Git push origin main. Git restore stage run.sh git status. Okay, git add dot git commit -m updated file, git push origin main. Okay, now let's go back to our remote repository and just verify whether that change is there or not. You see that this is 20 seconds ago, and you see that it's raining day. 25 seconds ago, and this is the commit hash. This is the commit hash, exact commit hash. Okay? Any questions?